Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be revisiting a band I have covered about 3 or 4 times before in the past. I think most recently I did one about a year or so ago, and this is the band Demon Hunter. Now this is a request from a fair while back, which I got reminded of through a somewhat agitated comment on one of my videos. The guy was somewhat upset because it taken me so long to get around to it, but you've got to bear in mind that only a few months ago I suffered a catastrophic failure in my computer and I lost my entire list of requests along with many other things. So I've been having to try and recompile my list of reactions by trawling through nearly 3 years worth of comments, and that takes a long time. So you got to be a little bit patient. You don't need to get so agitated and annoyed about it. But anyway, we're going to be looking at a track by Demon Hunter called Lesser Gods. Now, in the, I think, 4 tracks that I've covered by Demon Hunter, there's been a bit of a mixed bag. Some of them I've really liked. Some of them have been sort of okay. Some of them I've been not too sure about. So I know what to expect going in. I just don't know what to expect from the actual song itself. Now, I do have the lyrics up here, so we can have a look through that when we've finished listening to the actual track. And, yeah, we'll just jump straight into it. So we've got Lesser Gods by Demon Hunter. Let's have a look. There we go. Lesser Gods by Demon Hunter. Now, the actual performance of that song, I really like. It was fast, it was heavy, the vocal performance was brilliant. Musically, it was fantastic. I absolutely loved listening to it. However, I don't like the message that it's pushing. I've said this on countless other videos. I am not a religious person at all. I greatly dislike religion because of the absolute rubbish and bullshit that they push on people, and they try and force people into believing what they believe. Like, you get these preachers out on the street saying that you will be condemned to hell if you don't listen to God, if you don't listen to Jesus. I don't like that, forcing people to try and believe in your beliefs. I don't like that at all, and that's what this song is doing. Like I said, musically, vocally, brilliant. The message I don't like. Because it's basically saying, believe in God or you're gonna suffer. That's more or less what it is. And the song goes, when days fall dark, everything will fall apart. No path to guide, solace for a shattered heart. So that's talking about, like, when you're in a sort of dark place, when you're in depression, and you think that there is nowhere to turn. You're struggling with life. You're trying to figure out what you should do because you're in depression. So when you're in that sort of situation, inside, something in your soul will beg you why, what it is to live and die, what gain it is to live and die. And then it goes into the chorus, and this is the bit that actually bugs me the most. It says, here we stand to turn and face the odds, sacrifice yourself or bow to lesser gods. Now, the meaning of this chorus comes from Romans 12, 1-2, and Exodus 23 to 4. And, here we stand to turn and face the odds. That's like, we're going to stand up, be proud, and, turn to face God, as it were, turn to face the odds, turning to God for a solution. Sacrifice yourself or bow to lesser gods. And that's basically like, throw yourself on the mercy of God or on the mercy of Christ, give yourself over to God or bow to lesser gods, or, suffer the consequences, or, be, not be treated fairly and suffer for the rest of your life. So it's either, if you're in a bad depression, turn to God, or else you're going to suffer the rest of your life. And that I don't like, because the lesser gods aren't going to help you. It's that really claws at me. It carries on. If this is all, where though will we meet again? I won't relent, suffer to the bitter end. And again, this is a good part of the song. This is a good part of the message. I'm not gonna give in to the depression. I'm going to fight, because it says, if this is all, where though would we meet again? I won't relent and suffer to the bitter end. So if this is all that's meant to happen, if I'm just supposed to live in misery and depression, if I should happen to possibly die as a cause of this depression, what have you, when will we meet again in the afterlife, sort of thing. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fight to the bitter end. I'm going to fight to survive. And that part I like. It's good. It's a good meaning behind mental illness and stuff like that. It's great. Then it goes back into that chorus again. Inside, something in your soul will beg you why, what gain it is to live and die. And then it goes into that chorus again. Here we stand to turn and face the odds. Sacrifice yourself or bow to lesser gods. Sacrifice yourself or bow to lesser gods. There is no time for hesitation to vow unto a craving world. Throw yourself upon the fire. Hear the call ascending from inside. Something in your soul will beg you why, what gain it is to live and die. And then it goes into that chorus again, repeated twice. Here we stand to turn and face the odds. Sacrifice yourself or bow to lesser gods. Here we stand to turn and face the odds. Sacrifice yourself or bow to lesser gods. So, in the lyrical context, in some ways, it is it's a good song, because it's talking about mental health and, fighting back, trying to survive it. But having thrown in that sort of religious part in as well, if you're suffering from depression, turn to God and everything will be okay. If you don't, you're going to suffer the rest of your life. I don't like that. You can't say stuff like that. It doesn't work that way. as I said, the actual performance of the track was brilliant. I loved the sound of it. It sounded good. It was fast. It was hard. It was heavy. The vocal performance was brilliant. It had that weird sort of almost synthesizer-like effect when he was doing the cleanish part of singing, and then he had that sort of more harsher, sort of shouted vocal style when it came to things like the chorus and stuff like that. It sounded great. It was brilliantly done. I just don't like the way they're forcing religion through the song. I don't agree with that at all. And I've said that about countless other bands, countless other religious bands. I think Under Oath, Flyleaf. I've said it about those bands as well. And I think I might have said it about another previous Demon Hunter song as well. I'm not sure. But, it's something I really don't like is when people are trying to force religion through music. It kind of annoys me. But it is what it is. But, I'd be happy to listen to the song again. I'd quite happily listen to it over and over again. But just that bit, it's the chorus that annoys me. It's the chorus that I don't like because of the way it's trying to say, you will only be okay if you follow God, which is a load of tripe, So, but anyway, that's just my opinion. I don't know what else to say on that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody else would like to suggest a track, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram. Or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a great help to me. If you do suggest a track through regular means, such as YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, because I do get suggested a lot of tracks every single day, but also, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, my original list of suggested tracks did get destroyed when my computer failed, so I'm having to try and recompile it by looking back through almost 3 years worth of comments on YouTube. So, it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion. And, just, relax. But I do write down all the suggestions I get, so it'll get done eventually. It just might take me a while. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture. And that's something I believe in very, very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's something that gets very widely ignored, but something that has been running rampant through our society for years, for decades. Long before I was born, this was a problem. And what I'm talking about here is people getting attacked just purely for the fact that they listen to alternative music and wear alternative fashion. And we're not just talking about name-calling or getting shoulder bumped as they walk down the street. We're talking about real violent crimes where people are getting brutalized. They're getting hospitalized with broken limbs and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries just because of their taste in music and clothing. And, every day we hear about all these other ones like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear these every single day. From the most violent and heinous of these crimes, where someone is murdered because of the colour of their skin, or because of their sexual identity, or because of their religious beliefs, down to the most petty and pathetic of these, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. We hear every facet of these every single day on every media platform you can imagine. Every single day we hear them. But we never hear about these people getting violently attacked because of their taste in music. And it is a very real problem, and people are getting severely hurt. The last time there was widespread talk about this was 13 to 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked and brutally beaten so severely that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a bit longer, but he survived. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman, she was 20 years old, was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. Just because a group of people, and it's always a group of people, couldn't handle the fact that they had a different taste in music and clothing to them. They couldn't handle the fact that these people wanted to be individuals. They wanted to be themselves rather than being sheep and following the socially accepted trend, And this is nothing new. Like I say, this has been going on longer than I've been alive. but it's always ignored. It's always sort of brushed under the carpet and classed as a non-issue. And this is one of the fundamental problems with it, because the more we ignore it, the more people think they can get away with doing it. The more we pretend that this isn't a problem, the more people think, you know, I can do whatever I want. I'm not going to face any ramifications for this. And we can't have that. You know, because in the 13 to 14 years since what happened to Sophie Lancaster, there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of other cases of people getting violently attacked in a similar fashion. And we've not heard anything about it. And the main factor for that is because no one's died. And that is unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before we start talking about this. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. You know, how long is it going to, if we keep ignoring it, how long is it going to be before someone else gets killed just because of their taste in music? Sophie Lancaster wasn't the first. And if we carry on ignoring it, she won't be the last. So something needs to be done. You know, only a couple of years ago, a young woman in Glasgow, Scotland, was violently attacked and brutally beaten by a group of people. And this happened twice on the same night, within a few minutes of each other. You know, first attack, she was brutally attacked, beaten, they walked away. Then they came back and did it again. And the only reason it was stopped was a passing taxi driver came by and put an end to it. But he didn't even check to see how she was. He just buggered off. She didn't get any help until she got back to her group of friends. But this wasn't in the news. I didn't know about it until a friend told me about it, and I live walking distance away from Scotland. And I didn't hear this in the news at all. Unacceptable. If that taxi driver hadn't passed when he did, who's to say that that young woman wouldn't have been in a coma? Who's to say that that young woman wouldn't have been beaten to death just like Sophie Lancaster? It's unacceptable that this sort of thing carries on and people continue to treat it as a non-issue. That needs to stop. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want more people talking about this. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening and make people realise what a big problem it really is. Because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. We can't allow what happened to Sophie Lancaster to ever happen again. It never should have happened in the first place, but we most certainly cannot allow it to happen again. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a hell of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands or one of these ones, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff, you know. If you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so. But the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we start taking more action against this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.